Good night. This has been Self-Care Tips.
Iwapo unakohoa, unahisi uchungu kwenye kifua, uchovu kila wakati, joto jingi mwilini, unakosa hamu ya kula au kupoteza uzito haraka bila kukusudia na kutokwa na jasho jingi usiku, waweza kuwa waugua TB.
I'm going to convince Oligario that that's another invention of yours to separate us.
Really? And what will you do when my father starts confirming with all the people who are named here? He'll also think that these people want to separate you from him?
TB yaweza kuangamiza jamii yako. Usikubali. Matibabu ni bila malipo katika hospitali zote za serikali.
The Mozart Bait Cup brings together teams from Kenya Premier League, the National Super League, and the FKF Division 1 side for a chance to represent the nation in the CAF Confederation. Catch all the action live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1 as we bring you all the matches of the Mozart Bait Cup with the grand finale set for the 24th of June 2023. Watch this momentous event live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1 from the comfort of your place. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
The Policyholders Compensation Fund, PCF, is a state corporation under the National Treasury and Economic Planning that was established under the Insurance Act with the primary mandate of providing compensation to the claimants of an insurer placed under statutory management or whose license has been cancelled. It was established for the secondary purpose of creating confidence in the insurance sector. Policyholders Compensation Fund, dhamana ya bima yako.
Good evening and welcome to Sunday Express. Tonight, the finance bill continues to generate a lot of hate. President William Ruto says the opposition is being dishonest while in its opposition against the finance bill since they had the similar proposals during their campaigns. Azimio, on the other hand, says they are not confident that the courts or any other institution will be able to protect Kenyans from the finance bill and therefore will be announcing the next steps in the coming days. Tuesday is when the National Assembly resumes its sittings and top on its agenda is the Finance Bill 2023. Here are tonight's highlights.
For those of us who are telling me that we should wait on this housing plan, I have this to tell them. The time is now, the year is this one, the administration is this one, and the people are these ones.
Honesty is the best policy. President Ruto challenges opposition to be honest about their stand on the finance bill.
Ni lazima mambo haya yajulikane wazi kwamba ni ya wananchi wa Kenya. Therefore, I don't trust anyone on this matter. I trust the sound judgment of the Kenyan people.
Not so fast. Kalonzo Musyoka maintains that the opposition will not allow government to impose more taxes on Kenyans. And saving the chimpanzees. A trip into the wild with conservationists dedicated to the protection of man's distant relatives. Welcome to the broadcast. My name is John Jacob Kioria. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Lensa Odingo. We start off with the news around the finance bill, where President William Ruto has faulted the opposition for being dishonest about the finance bill and the housing program. The president says opposition had previously supported the program only to oppose it because they are not the ones to implement it.
President William Ruto was in Leshuta area of Narok West Sub-County, Narok County, to attend the Thanksgiving service of Environment Cabinet Secretary Soipan Tuya.
Oh baba, tualete yeye mikononi mwako, ukamsaidie.
The housing levy debate took center stage with Kenya Kwanza leaders led by National Assembly Majority Whip Silvana Sosoro and Senate Majority Leader Aaron Cheruyot saying Parliament will pass the Finance Bill 2023. President Ruto urged Kenyans to support the Finance Bill 2023 and the housing program, saying it will create job opportunities for thousands of Kenyan youth.
We were 60 years ago, we were at the same level with Korea. We were at the same level with Singapore. We were at the same level with Malaysia. Today, in those countries, 80% of their population are living in decent houses. We are yet to begin in Kenya. And you are telling me, let us wait. We are 60 years late. I don't think it is prudent to continue to wait anymore. The time is now, the year is this one, the administration is this one, and the people are these ones. We are beginning this year.
Hakuna mtu anaambia hao wafugaji wanatoka hapo wanaenda pale walipe 3% kwa sababu hawana payslip. Ile iko ni hao wafugaji watoto yao housing ikianza watapata kibarua waende wajenge manyumba. So the beneficiaries of this housing fund are the ordinary people, the young people.
The president faulted the opposition for turning their back on the housing program that they had supported. He warned members of parliament that shooting down the bill would be tantamount to denying Kenyans jobs and the opportunity to own decent homes.
In the meantime, the opposition, that is Azimio, says it doesn't have confidence that any institution or courts can protect Kenyans against the finance bill and has promised to announce a new raft of measures to deal with the finance bill if indeed it is adopted by the National Assembly.
A contentious bill, a disgruntled opposition, and an adamant government. A showdown looms in Parliament. The opposition says it will do what it takes to defeat the Finance Bill 2023.
Mwezi wa June, leo ni tarehe 4. By 30th of June lazima pesa za kuendesha serikali ya Jamhuri ya Kenya ziwe zimepatikana. Lakini sisi tuamini kwamba jambo hili lina uzito mkubwa sana. Na jambo hili limepelekwa tayari kwa mahakama ya wananchi.
Kalonzo Musyoka says Azimio will go to the people to counter the tyranny of numbers expected to be used by the Kenya Kwanza government to bulldoze the finance bill through parliament.
Ni lazima mambo haya yajulikane wazi kwamba ni ya wananchi wa Kenya. Therefore, I don't trust anyone on this matter. I trust the sound judgment of the Kenyan people. Na mutasikia tukizungumza tukiendelea mbele juu ya swala hili. Lisionekane kama is a small thing.
Maneno ya taxes tafadhali. Ile kitu inaumiza wananchi sana, hiyo pia ni muhimu iangaliwe. Tunaelewana? Because life has become tough everywhere. Not only in Kenya, but all over the world, life has become tough. And it is high time governments started looking at ways on how to help their people. Kwa hivyo, hiyo najua Mheshimiwa Kalonzo ile direction atatupatia, sisi tutafuata hiyo.
The finance bill proposes a raft of interventions to the economic downturn, but it is the housing levy that has provided fodder for the ensuing debate.
Mimi ningeomba Mheshimiwa Mawadhe pamoja na members of parliament, maana hii finance bill haitakuja pale Senate, itaenda parliament. Ikifika pale muikatae yote.
Nataka kuuliza, je, hii 3% mnaambiwa mkatwe ya nyumba, naona nyumba yako binafsi inakwenda wapi? Sisi kama wanaazimio tumeikataa na tutaikataa na tutajipanga.
The National Assembly will resume sittings on 5th June, and the debate on the finance bill is expected to be a key highlight in the proceedings. Kamchimenza for Sunday Express.
Clearly a showdown looms in the National Assembly owing to the strong positions taken by the two sides, the majority and the minority. Now, phase 3 of the exhumation exercise in Shakahola kicks off tomorrow. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kioria Kindiki says the country has lost 242 people so far in the cultic operations of embattled preacher Paul Mackenzie, even as he noted that the government will crack the whip on radicalization and indoctrination disguised as acts of faith.
Exhumation of bodies from unmarked graves in Shakahola had been paused to pave way for the completion of postmortems. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kindiki maintains there will be repercussions for the evil.
This unfortunate event is going to provide the turning point for Kenya. Tutapigana na vile vile na magaidi wa dini zote, zikiwemo wale magaidi wamejificha katika dini zote, ikiwemo dini ya Ukristo, kwa sababu muuaji hana dini, muuaji hana kabila, muhalifu ni muhalifu.
Kindiki called on Kenyans to submit their vows on how to regulate faith-based organizations to avert a repeat of the Shakahola horror.
To come out and speak openly and candidly on what you'd want us to do as government, what we need to strengthen in terms of policies, laws, procedures.
The Interior Cabinet Secretary allayed fears that the ongoing legal and structural process is engineered to infringe on the freedom of worship. Yusufar reporting for Sunday Express.
Chimpanzees are under threat of extinction as thousands of them are taken from the wild each year to meet the demand for pets, tourist attraction, bushmeat, and body parts used as ornaments. In this week's feature, the man who gets kisses from elephants, Alvin Kaunda, looks at some of the conservation measures being taken to ensure that these species thrive.
The sounds of happy chimps at the Sweetwaters Chimpanzee Sanctuary in Old Pejeta Conservancy in central Kenya. The jovial mood as they play and groom each other, however, belies the trauma that befell them in the wild. They escaped from being killed for their meat or kept as pets in the Middle East. Over the past decade, the Sweetwater Sanctuary has been compelled to take in chimpanzees rescued from traumatic situations, some of them rescued from cramped and unnatural living conditions, with most of them nursing injuries from human abuse. One of the first to call Sweetwater's home is 35-year-old Max, who had been raised by a French film crew in the 1980s. Despite his playful tantrums and spontaneous screaming, he is a performer who will charm you with his antics.
Because of their intelligence, some of them they've been attempting to escape. They've been trying to disconnect the power. They've been trying to short circuit the electric fence by using the dry sticks.
Chimps aren't native to Kenya. In 1995, a chimpanzee was rescued from Burundi, where he'd been held in this small cage suspended from the ceiling without enough room for him to sit or lie. After years of standing on two legs, his pelvic muscles were so underdeveloped that he became bipedal, like a human.
They have extraordinary strength, so they are 4 times stronger than the strongest man in the world.
Illegal wildlife trade is devastating wildlife species across the globe as poachers, traffickers and highly organized criminal syndicates ruthlessly pursue profit at any cost to meet consumer demand for bushmeat. Demand for bushmeat from the illegal hunting of wildlife like elephants, bats, antelopes, monkeys and great apes is on the rise, with roughly 500 African species sold in economically well-off African cities or exported to Europe annually.
These chimpanzees, they are very, very, very expensive to maintain. So it normally costs us around 450,000 every year for each chimpanzee. So in case if a newborn is born accidentally, we don't allow, we control the breeding because of the cost.
In the year 2016, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, uplisted the western chimpanzee from endangered to critically endangered, reflecting the subspecies' increasingly dire conservation status.
So our main aim here is just to give them the better life because they were abused, they were traumatized, so they will spend the rest of their life in this sanctuary. Because also, you know, this is not their natural habitat, so they live in a tropical rainforest, and this is a savanna woodland area.
However, humans who eat bushmeat risk transmission of diseases from the animal. To curb this trade and avert the health risks, hunting quotas have to be enforced, the remaining species be protected, and civic education on bushmeat be conducted. For KBC Channel 1, I'm Alvin Kaunda.
We are taking a short breather. When we come back, we've more news lined up for you, including a conversation on the International Day of the African Child upcoming on the 16th of June. There's so much you need to hear and understand about the protection of the welfare of children. That will be coming up a little bit later. For now, that breather.
What am I forgetting? Nini, workers paid, rent checked, mlango locked, visiting notices, goza mzae silitoa jana la internet sorted. What is it? What am I forgetting?
Nini, nimesahau kucheza Loto Moto.
Usisahau kucheza Loto Moto. Unaweza shinda hadi milioni 2 kwenye M-Pesa. Chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number, weka 757070. Account number, weka neno Loto. Weka kiwango chochote cha pesa kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi 2,000. Lipa, kisha subiri draw. Ujumbe huu umeidhinishwa na BCLP.
Huchagui familia yako, ni zawadi ya Mungu kwako kama ulivyozawadi kwao. Iwapo unakohoa, unahisi uchungu kwenye kifua, uchovu kila wakati, joto jingi mwilini, unakosa hamu ya kula au kupoteza uzito haraka bila kukusudia, na kutokwa na jasho jingi usiku, waweza kuwa waugua TB. Nenda hospitalini ukapimwe. Ikibainika ya kwamba ni TB, utapewa dawa, na ukimeza vizuri ulivyoshauriwa na daktari, utapona. TB yaweza kuangamiza jamii yako. Usikubali. Matibabu ni bila malipo katika hospitali zote za serikali.
Vicario is the most perverse being I've ever known in my life, Pancho. He told her that she and Ruben were siblings. I'm going to convince Oligario that that's another invention of yours to separate us.
Really? And what will you do when my father starts confirming with all the people who are named here? He'll also think that these people want to separate you from him? Go away, Milena. Go away and leave my father alone, because I won this fight. Leave now, Milena.
His name resounds in this house, and it torments me. And I do not want my son to know that his father is a miserable drunkard who raped me.
Las Bandidas. Cheza Loto Moto.
Kwa majina naitwa David Irene, nimetoka Mwiki. Loto Moto ni show iko sawa, ni kitu true. So na walikanyi wote mcheze Loto Moto.
Usisahau kucheza Loto Moto. Shinda milioni 2 kila siku kwenye M-Pesa. Chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number, weka 757070. Account number, andika neno Loto. Weka kiwango chochote cha pesa kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi 2,000. Lipa, kisha subiri draw.
Welcome back. You're watching the Sunday Express. The population of elephants in the Masai Mara increased by 102 in a span of 4 years, bringing the total close to 2,600. This is according to the latest census published in May 2022 by the Wildlife Research and Training Institute and the Kenya Wildlife Service. How about other animals? Over now to Jacqueline Masharia with the details of that wildlife census.
According to the census report, which was released in Narok County, there has been a general population increase of the large mammal species over the last 3 decades. The report shows between 2017 and 2021, elephants increased from 2,493 to 2,595, buffaloes from 9,466 to 11,604, giraffes decreased from 2,607 to 2,109. The decrease of giraffes was attributed to incidents of attacks and electrocutions by numerous fences fixed in the region due to massive land subdivision. A total of 10 wildlife species were recorded during the census, which was undertaken in May 2021 and covered 12,500 square kilometers. Wild beasts were the highest abundant mammal species recorded during the census. However, the wildlife is slowly losing its corridors.
One of the most emerging threats within the ecosystem is the shrinking habitat connectivity because of land subdivision and upcoming fences within the ecosystem.
Solution to this problem, promoting more conservancies, encouraging communities to implement their traditional practices, which was based on open grazing.
The census published in May 2022 by the Wildlife Research and Training Institute and the Kenya Wildlife Service, with the support of Wild Wildlife Fund Kenya, further revealed that various human activities have gravely affected habitat connectivity, which has posed as a major threat to the ecosystem.
The best we can do is to sit down with the communities, with the conservancy owners, and look for way forwards. Really talk conservation.
If we can strengthen research in terms of domiciling research into the landscapes, I think that's the approach that we want to take to ensure that endangered species are taken care of, and again, the abundance of the habitat is also taken care of.
The report notes of an increase in the number of wild beasts, zebras, buffaloes, impalas, Thompson gazelles, topi and grand gazelles. Based on the results of the census, harmony of transboundary wildlife monitoring and census was recommended. In addition, secure key habitat linkages and migratory pathway.
The 2021 census showed an increase of wildlife in the Masai Mara ecosystem landscape, but due to the 4 consecutive rainfall, the animals decreased. But now there is an end to the drought. The wildlife are coming back to the ecosystem and the species are thriving. Jacqueline Masharia reporting for KBC Channel 1 from Narok County.
The National Irrigation Authority has agreed to cede part of its 12,630-acre land at the Tana Irrigation Scheme, which was gazetted in 1960 for the settlement of Mau Mau freedom fighters and residents of Tana River. There's and more in our county news roundup.
In a bid to address the long-standing challenge, officials of the national government and the county government of Tana River, the National Irrigation Authority, members of parliament, the National Land Commission and other stakeholders mutually agreed to degazette 2,000 acres of land in the southern and eastern parts of the scheme to facilitate expansion of Hola Town.
Ile sheria ifuatwe, hii ardhi ipatikane ni sehemu gani na watu wa Tana River au Hola Town na sehemu jirani wapate kupata hiyo ardhi.
Elsewhere, Buruburu Girls Secondary School in Mandera East constituency has benefited from 4 new classrooms costing 19 million shillings, courtesy of the National Government Constituency Development Fund initiative to necessitate the need to improve the infrastructure and quality of education in the constituency.
The most impressive things today that I've seen is that the performance of the girls was really up to date.
Meanwhile, the European Union and other development partners have rolled out a livestock restocking program in parts of Isiolo County to help farmers mitigate the effects of drought.
Kiangazi ilikuwa mzito sana, imeua wanyama wote, lakini tunataka kushirikiana pamoja na serikali kuu pamoja na development partners tuhakikishe hii watu wameweza kurudi katika hali yao ile ya kawaida.
And beneficiaries of the National Hospital Insurance Fund will be required to pay for outpatient health services at private hospitals in Kisii in cash. The Rural Private Hospitals Association instructed its members in Kisii not to serve patients under capitation, accusing the NHIF of failing to remit funds to the hospital.
If these insurances and NHIF can pay service providers, our community or our people will get quality service. They will get their drugs, they will get the best treatment from the doctors.
Elsewhere in Baringo County, Labour and Social Protection Cabinet Secretary Florence Bore has said that the government will take an amendment bill to Parliament to ensure all elderly people are covered in the Inua Jamii Cash Transfer Program.
Kutoka June, tutaanza kulipa wale wazee kabla sisi hatujapata mshahara.
Finally, Turkana County leadership and members of the Turkana Peace Actors Forum have led a meeting to deliberate on sharing of resources and opportunities to further the border peace agenda.
I hope that the national government and the county government are going to work in tandem to try to avail enough water for these many head of cattle.
Brian Onsom, reporting for Sunday Express.
The Policyholders Compensation Fund, PCF, is a state corporation under the National Treasury and Economic Planning that was established under the Insurance Act with the primary mandate of providing compensation to the claimants of an insurer placed under statutory management or whose license has been cancelled. It was established for the secondary purpose of creating confidence in the insurance sector. Policyholders Compensation Fund, dhamana ya bima yako.
What am I forgetting? Nini? Workers paid. Rent checked. Mlango locked. Visiting notices. Goza mzae silitoa jana la internet sorted. What is it? What am I forgetting?
Nini? Nimesahau kucheza Loto Moto.
Usisahau kucheza Loto Moto. Unaweza shinda hadi milioni 2 kwenye M-Pesa. Chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number weka 7570. Account number weka neno Loto. Weka kiwango chochote cha pesa kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi 2000. Lipa kisha subiri draw. Ujumbe huu umeidhinishwa na BCLP.
To get Skizatune Hail Mary, dial *811 *963#.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
To get Hail Mary, dial *811 *963#. *811 *963#.
이제 정신이 들어요.
조금만 기다려주세요. 계셔야 할 곳으로 꼭 모실게요. 꼭.
오늘 같은 날까지 이렇게 있어야 하는 거예요?
요지에서 떠날 때까지 감시하라 그러잖아.
아, 이 양반 진짜 종교 위에 거대 진성이네.
형제님?
왜?
신부 때리는 지옥 가요.
그래요? 그럼 지옥으로 가볼까? 우리 신부님 어떻게 때려줄까? 합기도
Welcome back. You're watching Sunday Express now. Connoisseurs of smooth oldies and nostalgic melodies that broadcast on KBC English Service Radio Sundowner Show were treated to a sunset date to remember in Embu this weekend, characterized by live radio broadcast and a band. An opportunity to interact with their favorite radio presenters, Catherine Ndonye, John Karani, and John Obongo Jr., capped it all. Here's our senior reporter, Regina Manyara, with the thrills of a fake-dubbed Embu Sundowner sunset date.
Dance, music, laughter, and banter characterize the Embu Sundowner sunset date.
I'm a great fan of Sundowner. KBC English Service is everything. In fact, we start early in the morning, up to late in the evening, and we really enjoy the music. And everything is good about KBC.
It creates an awareness. At least we are able to meet not just on social media, but physically.
From as far as Kajiado and Kisumu counties, fans stand up to share in their common love for the Sundowner show, and the presenters did not disappoint.
If you believe that the Sundowner admins and moderators and commissioners won, say aye. That is a spoiled vote. Now, you guys are going to be rewarded courtesy of our sponsors, the Kenya Tourism Board. Out of that group, congratulations. You win yourself a gift voucher of 2 nights stay for 10 persons at Kina Guest House in Meru National Park.
Trade, Investment and Tourism County Minister Jamal Runyenjes lauded the move by Kenya Broadcasting Corporation to host a show in the county, saying it served at opening the country and county for trade and tourism.
We also have Mwea National Park that is still quite unknown in the country, but we are doing all it takes to start marketing it, and we're also in the process of taking it back from KWS and running it as a county asset. We also have the magnificent 7 Fox scheme right here in Embu. We have the Ngejero Falls, we have the Mau Mau Caves, and we have a rich legacy of Embu, this side of Mount Kenya.
So, sir, are you a Sundowner fan or are you here to support us as KBC Channel 1?
Both. I am a fan. Sundowner, I am not young. That is a program we used to enjoy even in our younger days, and we still do.
As fans danced the night away to radio tunes and live performances from the likes of Caribbean, one thing was clear: good music transcends gender and age. Regina Manyara reporting for KBC Channel 1.
Indeed, a thrilling night in Embu County as fans of Sundowner enjoyed themselves. I mean, Wahome, I missed this night, and I'm sure you did. Or you went there yesterday?
No, I missed it because the man was handling everything in the KBC English Service studio from 1 p.m. till 6 p.m. when they were live there.
All right. Just hold on. You will tell us about that in a bit. Looks like your microphone is not ready. So we're taking a breather. When we come back, of course, Daniel Wahome is up next.
Aviator instant game. Be a daring pilot and earn by how much high you can lift the plane. The higher you fly, the higher your win. The sky is the limit. Mozart Bet.
Are you a holder of unclaimed financial assets? Surrender unclaimed financial assets today and avoid the last-minute rush. Take advantage of penalties and fines waiver ending June 30th, 2023. Report and surrender unclaimed financial assets today. For more information, visit our website www.ufaa.go.ke/holders or contact us through holders@ufaa.go.ke or call us on 020-402-3000. Do not wait for the June 30th, 2023 deadline. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite.
It is the cup with the golden ticket. Mozart Bet Cup. 2 million shillings. CAF Confederations Cup. Kuwa mshindi. Mozart Bet Cup.
A very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Sunday Express Sport. President William Ruto has assured the organizers of the annual Rhino Charge Challenge of the government's support for their efforts towards environmental conservation. The head of state made the remarks as the curtains came down on this year's Rhino Charge Challenge at Nkoteia Community Conservancy in Samburu County. This year's Rhino Charge Challenge raised 173 million shillings.
Led by McGlenna, car number 38 led by St. Avery, and car number 5 led by Graham McKittrick came in second and third respectively.
The hills were pretty radical out there. We finished early, 4:15, so we thought that we could have done better, but transpires we did all right.
The modified class category was claimed by car number 60 entered by Jitesh Kapoor, whereas the unmodified category was claimed by car number 9 led by John Boyden.
We're absolutely enthused about this partnership going forward to help restore the Kakamega forest, and as Christian mentioned, it's an initial donation. We intend to make this partnership long-term.
The highest fundraiser was Adil Kawanja of car number 44 with 60 million shillings, up from 21.7 million shillings in last year's auction. Peter Kenyua's car number 23 and Tim Carsten's car number 63 were the second and third highest fundraiser respectively.
What you have done in Mount Kenya, what you're doing in Aberdares, what you have started in Kakamega, and shortly we will be working together with you in fencing of the Mau as well.
One of the primary objectives of the Rhino Charge Challenge is to generate funds for environment conservation initiatives. This year's Rhino Charge Challenge attracted 52 cars.
And still on motorsport, Thierry Neuville moved from 5th to 2nd in the FIA World Rally Championship standings this afternoon after clinching a long-awaited victory at Rally Italia Sardinia. The Belgian star Neuville beat in a 920N car defeated his teammate Esape Kalapi by 33 seconds in a Dream 1-2 finish for Hyundai at round 6 of 13, scoring his 18th career success alongside co-driver Martin Videge.
Thierry Neuville's victory served as a maiden 2023 triumph for both Neuville and his team, helping the Korean manufacturer to move within 23 points of the championship leading manufacturer Toyota Gazoo Racing. The lead changed hands a whopping 9 times during the Fast and Furious Mediterranean Island fixture, until Neuville seized the initiative when GRE's rival Sebastian Ogier went off the road in Saturday's rain-hit penultimate test.
It was a challenging weekend. We came here with the belief that we could fight for victory. But the first day was very challenging and we lost a bit of time. We caught it back, we lost it again, and at the end, yesterday, big turnaround. And we found ourselves in the lead and had to manage until the end.
Reigning world champion Rovanpera completed the podium in 3rd overall, his best result out of the 5 Rally Italia Sardinia attempts. Elsewhere, Andreas Michelsen celebrated the unlikeliest of WRC2 victories on Sunday afternoon at Rally Italia Sardinia when rally leader Adrien Famo slid off the road 1.8 kilometers into the weekend's final stage. The WRC season enters its second half with its legendary Safari Rally Kenya based in Naivasha and takes place from the 22nd to 25th of June. KBC Channel 1 will broadcast 5 stages live on TV and the shakedown on our Facebook channel.
Like the rain has eased up, doesn't it? But of course there's so much standing water and the rain.
And so the next 2.5 weeks we will be rally heavy in our sports coverage and also in our sports programming. We're talking about Sports Check, Game On, and also tutadunda kirali kidogo. Moving on to football, where Ulinzi Starlets are the 2023 winners of the FKF Women's Cup after trouncing the Kuru City Queens 3-1 to retain the title in an entertaining final played Sunday at the Nyao National Stadium. Following the win, Ulinzi Starlets walked home with $500,000 shillings, while the runners-up Nakuru City Queens bagged 250,000 shillings.
Mercy Airo gave Ulinzi Starlets an early lead in the 10th minute. Airo added the second for Ulinzi Starlets in the 20th minute to force a 2-0 halftime lead. In the second half, Nakuru City Queens pulled goal back through Marceline Wafula, but Nedio called 93rd minute goal was also enough to hand Ulinzi Starlets the title.
Ulinzi Starlets for the win, for a good game. We started slowly. They scored very early, 2 goals very early. 23rd minute they had 2 goals. So with my young girls, the morale went down, but we picked up in the halftime. We talked to them. They came strongly. They equalized very early. But
ijakuwa rahisi. Tumeona pia opponent alikuwa amejipanga mzuri, lakini tumeweza kumanage kupata that win, of which tunashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa sababu that is the only cup. Knockout cup inachezangwa na knockout stages, so you need to have a good planning about it. You have to plan. It is so different na vile utacheza league. Ni inakuanga tu ni tactical plan tu ya kucheza hiyo cup.
Following the win, Ulinzi Starlets walked home with 500,000 shillings, while runners-up Nakuru City Queens bagged 250,000 shillings. Kingori Mwangi for Sunday Express.
And on to men's football, where former champions Gor Mahia back at the summit of the Football Kenya Federation Premier League standings after registering a 2-0 win over Lindsay Stars at the Kasarani Stadium. Austin Odhiambo scored 2 goals for Gor Mahia in the 3rd and 9th minutes, respectively, to hand Gor a crucial win. Meanwhile, defending champions Tusker FC are now 1 point behind leaders Gor with 67 points following a 2-1 loss to Azito. In other matches played, Kakamega Homeboys beat Mathare United by a goal to nil. Police FC thrashed Posta Rangers 3-1 and KCB defeated Bidco United by a goal to nil, while Vihiga Bullets humbled AFC Leopards 2-1 in a match played at the Mumias Complex.
I'm really, really pleased. And you've heard me say before that this is a young team and results won't always go our way, but we're trying to build something, and I think today almost there's part of that first half and part of the second half that almost makes me a little bit emotional as a coach, because there was a real beauty in some of our play. It was beautiful, some of it.
Naweza sema ni mistakes za wachezaji wenyewe ndo walitufanya mpaka tukalose. After kulose hizo bao mbili nafikiri game imechange ikawa iko neutral. Tu remaining game naweza sema sina nazo wasiwasi kwa sasa, kwa sababu unapata niko na wachezaji wengi ambao wako kwa first team, wako na injuries, so unapata kurecover ilikuwa ni ngumu.
And on to the gentlemen's game played by gentlemen, where home club's Peter Cheriot was crowned the overall winner of the Kamba Golf Tournament played at the Par 71 Sifron Mombasa Golf Course. Playing off handicap 28, Cheriot carded 41 Stableford points to claim the overall lead in the day-long 18-hole tournament. Elvis Ndwati, playing off handicap 20, was the men's winner on a countback score of 40 points after tying on with handicap 16 Joel Muchanga, who was the runner-up, and handicap 19 Elijah Ibua was third on 39 points. Machakos Golf Club's lady golfer Scholar Onsonga, playing off handicap 28, was the lady winner with 40 points. The tournament attracted 180 golfers drawn from different golf clubs countrywide.
We are all from diverse backgrounds, and they say that there's unity in diversity. And when we celebrated Kamasam today, we were celebrating that unity in diversity.
So that's the sport for tonight. Thank you for being with us on Sunday Express Sport. Coming up next is the Sunday Express interview. John Jacob Kioria is going to be hosting Dennis Ratemo, who's the program manager at Ter de Zom of Netherlands, and Philip Nzenge, who's the deputy director of Children's Services. Because I saw a video on social media today of somebody giving their child alcohol, somebody who's under 3 years old. I mean, that's sacrilegious. Protection of children. John Jacob Kioria, over to you.
It is the cup with the golden ticket. Mozart Bet Cup, 2 million shillings. CAF Confederations Cup. Kuwa mshindi. Mozart Bet Cup.
All right, time for us to have our conversation. As I told you earlier, we're talking about the International Day of the African Child, celebrated on the 16th of June. And we want to just see how many steps we've made as a country to protect the children. Dennis Ratemo, the programs manager at Ter de Zom, it's quite a mouthful, in Netherlands, is in studio. And yes, I have Philip Nzenge, the Deputy Director, Children's Services. Both of you are very much welcome. Let's begin with, for a country that prides itself as protecting children, what are the gaps you've been able to identify? Start with you, Philip. What are the gaps that you're able to identify and say this is the missing link when we talk about the protection of children in Kenya?
Okay, thank you. My name is Philip Nzenge from the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection, State Department of Social Protection and Senior Citizen, in the Directorate of Children's Services. And in Kenya, on safeguarding of children, we have worked together with other stakeholders to identify main gaps which actually denies the child to get the best to grow to a responsible citizen. And most of the key gap which has come over time is the legal framework, whereby we found that some of the laws, some have become outdated, others they are not addressing the issues of children as they should be. The other gap which we have found as the government is the collective responsibility of the stakeholders, including the CSOs and the other partners, including the children themselves. And that's where you can see some of the commemoration through the African Charter and the rights of children, like what we are talking today about the Day of the African Child. And as well, we have looked at the participation of children, which is not fully realized in this country and Africa at large.
And we'll come back to that in a bit. But Ratemo, when you talk about the legal framework, and probably in the Kenyan context, is it the failure to adopt international conventions, or we have not just tailor-made the legal framework that works for us and the children?
Yeah, thank you, John. The experience that I've had is that there's always been a goodwill from the government in terms of the commitment and adoption of the legal frameworks that are there, be it global. There is what the government has done to domesticate some of those policies. The main gap has always been in terms of implementation. And it's implementation because either we don't have adequate technical capacity across to support the implementation of the policies. We do not have adequate resources, financial resources, to push for implementation of these resources. Then there is an aspect of coordination, because it requires coordination mechanisms from national level to the county level to ensure that there is even the awareness at the very local level in terms of what legal frameworks are we talking about and what are some of the commitments in those legal frameworks, and so what is the role of the different actors in terms of implementation of those policies. So a very strong coordination mechanism is needed for that to happen. And that could be a gap based on what my colleague Nzenge was talking about. Yes,
I would understand the disjointment in terms of the collective responsibility, but as a government official, as a government representative, when you talk about the legal framework, what are the inhibitions? What inhibits government from coming up with the correct legal framework? What inhibits government from the adoption of a legal framework that protects children?
Actually, the government is not inhibited in any way, but you have found that the world is very dynamic. You remember around 10 years ago, we had what we call the constitution, which was being used in this country. And all of a sudden, the new constitution came, which came with a lot of other provisions. And one of it was the Bill of Rights, which actually touches very well on children and marginalized people. And this one, it went to an extent of making all other legal frameworks like baseless, because they have to be in line with the constitution. I don't want to call it new, because it's our constitution. I must own it. And that is what things sometimes happen, and the world is moving so fast that there are so many things coming which need to be addressed as quick as possible. But sometimes we may find the policymakers, including the private sector, the civil society, they may not move with the speed of which the world is moving. And that's actually, like if you look on what is happening in Kenya and you go to another country, like the developed countries, you'll find a different scenario. And before we reach there, you'll find that there is a gap. And you may identify that gap when it's a little bit somehow late and some children have not benefited from what should they be actually achieving. A good example is when we got the Constitution in 2010, it meant the Children's Act, which was there by then, to have some inconsistency with the Constitution. And it's now the other year, that is on 26th of July, when now we got the Children's Act, and which now we are trying to implement, and I can tell you, we have not implemented it fully. And that one, to us, it is also a gap, because there are things which cannot be done simply because within that time, the law which you are using was in consistency with the Constitution.
I understand. Now I get it. Other than the traditional abuses of children, you know, what we were used to, violence, disinheriting and stuff like that, there's a new headache of online safety. When you look at the abuse of children, probably in your own estimation as an expert in this area, what would you say is the most rampant in the world we are living in? Because, you know, Nzenge says the world has become dynamic, it's moving so fast. What is rampant in the 21st century?
No, in terms of the in terms of the abuses, we know that we've got different forms of abuses and exploitations, and there are those that we would say that they're evolving, like the online child sexual exploitation. The theme for this year's Day of the African Child is on the rights of the child on the digital environment. The reason as to why we're giving this emphasis this time around is because of there's been evolutions of abuses in the digital environment. So all sorts of what the internet brings us, the dark side of the internet. And so there's online child sexual exploitation, which is brought about by different factors. The first that we need to understand is that there's been a fast evolution of the technological advancements. Internet access is on the increase. And between 2019 and 2020, because of COVID, schools were closed and there was a lockdown. There was a massive introduction of children into the online environment, in the digital environment. This was happening when children were not really given what it takes in terms of the rights, in terms of the skills and the knowledge to live in the online in a safe way. So at the same time, then the perpetrators moved the abuses from the offline environment to the online environment. So then you realize that there's a new trend in terms of online child sexual exploitation becoming the latest and the most the emerging abuse amongst children. And so the children do not have the skills and the knowledge to even know who is a potential perpetrator online. When these abuses are happening, how do I need to go about it? Do I need to report? Who do I report to? And things like those. So that has become an emerging issue that we will be talking about during these celebrations. And what we are pushing for is that then children need to be given the right knowledge and the skills to be able to live in the digital environment safely. Yes.
Let me pick it up from there, because that incident in Soweto that brought about this day. And when we are talking about education, not just in school, but wholesome education, like the one Ratemo is referring to, so much so that the child also understands the potential threats when using the digital space. Are we offering that kind of education in Kenya? Or if you're doing it, is it in, what you would say, sufficient form?
Okay, thank you. We are moving towards that.
Okay.
Because when you go to many of the learning institutions, you find that they are embracing digital literacy, whereby children are being exposed. However, I must say this one here. According to the statistics which were done by the UNICEF 2020, it had shown that in some areas there are still challenges. In some of the countries in Africa, like West Africa region, they found that in the poorest parts of West Africa, the children who have access to gadgets of internet is 1%. Though we say in Africa that we actually using a lot of digital knowledge and education and learning and materials, like I think it stands at 41% out of 590, which was said on the year 2020. But you'll find that the digital, we are moving that way. There is a lot of the government intention and strategic approach, whereby some things are changing. They are changing, even the people who are offering the learning. For example, the teachers, they are using TPANT, which they transmit their data and everything else online. And you see that gives this instructor also the capacity to be able to use, so that can translate to the learner. So there is that, and it's not something which can happen within a day. It has to be a continuous level. The other thing is the government attempts to ensure every corner of this country has the power, that is electricity, and is connected to internet. Because without the connectivity of the internet, though we may talk of digital literacy, it cannot work. Though I appreciate what you are saying, we need to link the education, which was the cause of the massacre, the Soweto massacre of South Africa, with where we are and the emerging issues, as my friend Ratemo has said, to see, are we moving? Because that is where we are today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you talk about the digital threat, particularly to children and the insecurity, obviously you have to think about the parent who spends quite a substantial time with the child, and then probably another caregiver. It could be the teacher or whoever it is. When you talk about responsibility, what responsibility lies in the shoulders of a parent or a caregiver when dealing with a child and the threat of digital space?
So thank you, George. I would want to share some, statistics from the Disrupting Harm report that was done in 2020 that indicates that children between the ages of 12 to 17, 55% of those children are actually accessing the internet. When you go higher, the 15 to 17, that percentage increases to 62%. And then when you go slightly higher to 16 to 17, that percentage goes to 88%. The same study indicated that 99% of the children use their caregivers or the mobile phone to access internet. And so when you ask, really children do not own phones. So they're using the caregivers' phones. Yeah? What we are trying again to say is that as a caregiver, a guardian, a parent, they have a sole responsibility in terms of guiding the children to navigate the internet in a safe way. But then the main challenge has always been that the same parent, most of them, again, there's a study that TDH did, and up to 40% of the caregivers do not have the adequate knowledge and skills about the online environment. So in terms of guiding their parents, then that becomes an inhibition. So even as we think about then how do we ensure that children access or leave the online environment safely, there is an intervention that is needed to improve the knowledge and skills of the parents or the caregivers to be able to guide their children. What's happening currently with those parents who do not have the adequate knowledge and skills, they are barring their children from accessing the internet. Barring children from accessing internet is not the best solution. The best solution is to guide. What is good on the internet? What is bad on the internet? How do you detect something that is harmful to you as a child? When that happens, how do you report? Caregivers need to build that trust with their children so that a child, whenever they are approached online, maybe they experience some behaviors that could be that could potentially harm them, that then the children would be able to report to their caregivers. So in all these conversations, caregivers play a critical role in terms of guiding the children to live. Yes.
I have about 3 minutes before we wind up, but let's talk about the perpetrator of these abuses against children. It's a new dynamic. It's a new phenomenon. Are we punishing enough? Not even punishing enough. Have we been able to punish the perpetrators of this violence against children?
I can say, John, we have not handled the problem exhaustively because of some gaps again on the law enforcement. You'll find being a new phenomena, an emerging issue, you'll find some police officers are not trained on how even to come out with the charge sheet. And it's a charge sheet which is used in the courts of law. So if it is not prepared the right way, when it goes to the judge will find there is no law against what you are bringing. So that becomes a gap. Then also with the collaborators of coming up with what has happened, the social workers, including the children officers, they are not fully capacity built on this new phenomena. And it's something which needs to be looked into, going on down to the school, that they can also be able to identify and say this is a case of online child abuse. That has been a challenge all through. Then you'll find also some sites where the perpetrators, the pedophiles get into. Not many, even including the people who are working with it, they know. So sometimes they miss a lot and they only get some, and when it goes to the court, may be treated as a just normal case of child in need of protection.
All right. Clearly, there's so much to speak about that upcoming day. But very quickly, in 30 seconds, let me give you your closing remarks. In 30 seconds, as I come to Nzenge, very quickly. Start with you, Rotemo.
No, thank you so much, John. So my closing remark will be that no child... Our main commitment is that no child should be exploited or violated, because one thing that we've always said is that violation to one child is one too many. So as actors, be it the government, the private sector, the CSOs, we've got a critical role to play, because the government committed to this, and we in this together with the government to ensure that we promote and protect the rights of the child. So this is a big commitment. But for the children who are watching at this point, the main message that I'd want to give is that do not trust everyone that you meet online. Yes.
Do not trust everybody that you meet online. Nzenge, your 30 seconds very quickly.
I want to say that to the viewers, online, digital environment is both an angel and a devil. That's how you should look at it. That when you are getting to it, might be an angel or a devil.
All right.
So you are supposed to know at what time it becomes the devil and what time it becomes an angel, so that you can guide the child in the right way, so that the child can use digital environment responsibly. Thank you.
Fantastic. And of course, clearly looks like the 16th will be very much insightful, and we hope every caregiver and every person who has a responsibility in that chain can take up the responsibility in a big way. We're looking at the parent, the caregiver, the government itself, the law enforcers, and everybody involved in that chain. Thank you very much, Dennis Ratemo and Philip Nzenge, for joining us, and thank you for the job you're doing. That's how you put a cap on Sunday Express. My name is John Jacob Kioria. Our sign language interpreter tonight has been Lensa Odingo. Good night and have a fantastic week ahead.
every day on selected matches. Make a decision. Mozart Bet.
Iwapo unakohoa, unahisi uchungu kwenye kifua, uchovu kila wakati, joto jingi mwilini, unakosa hamu ya kula au kupoteza uzito haraka bila kukusudia na kutokwa na jasho jingi usiku, waweza kuwa waugua TB.
Hivi. Umekuja hapa kuongelesha watu fopea ama umekuja kuuliza kazi?
Usininyime hii chance. Tafadhali makaratasi nitaleta.
Unachua nasikia kilele zako sinani amalisa kichwa na uso na kila mahali.
TB yaweza kuangamiza jamii yako. Usikubali. Matibabu ni bila malipo katika hospitali zote za serikali.
이제 정신이 들어요.
조금만 기다려주세요. 계셔야 할 곳으로 꼭 모실게요. 꼭.
오늘 같은 날까지 이렇게 있어야 하는 거예요?
요지에서 떠날 때까지 감시하는 거잖아.
아, 이 양반 진짜 종교 위에 거대 진성이네.
형제님?
왜?
신부 때리면 지옥 가요.
그래요? 그럼 지옥으로 가볼까? 우리 신부님 어떻게 때려줄까? 합기도?
Ya jamani, ujifungia tangu jana. Mwenzako nsharudi hata salamu.
Dad, you know if there's something wrong, you could just tell me.
Yes, baby girl. I'm fine.
Habari za kombo?
Hayuko madam.
Wasiwasi wa nini sasa? Naweza kuwa tajua ukweli tu. Ananipima akili.
I told you to stay away from this issue.
Pili is my best friend.
In Kiambu County, Lower Kabete, Save a Life meets Yvonne Luvisa, a 17-year-old girl suffering from growths on both sides of her ears. Her illness progressing with their lives, while her own path is hindered by this illness. If she receives the necessary treatment, her heartfelt wish is to return to school. Yvonne's mother works as a house help in Kibera to provide for her daughter and her baby's needs. Seeing her daughter struggle, she had to find a job even if it was far away to seek treatment for her. The thought of her child's illness weighs heavily on her while at work, and she often ends up crying and questioning why all this is happening. She can only come home on weekends, and they struggle to gather necessary funds to support the young girl. Yvonne is in pain and has no one to turn to for help. She is alone with her mother, and she appeals to us for the support. As Save a Life, we felt the need to step in and help her change her life. This illness can be treated, but we need funds to cover her treatment costs. Any amount you can provide will greatly contribute to her treatment and will be sincerely appreciated. Let's join hands and save Yvonne's life.
Hello good people, this is Save a Life, the only show that is transforming lives, and thank you for your support. My name is Dr. Joseph Moremia. Saizi tumeweza kusaidia watu zaidi ya 5,000. Wala tumesaidia, tumetransform lives zao. And thank you for your support. Let's continue doing this together. As you normally say.
Nisumbua tu, nimekaa naye hivyo. Nilienda usiku mara moja, kafanywa operation, tena ikarudi. Nilitoboa Ilitobolewa na mama mwingine yuko Migori, kisha ikaanza tu kuvura yenyewe.
Alikutoboa na nini?
Na shindano.
Okay. Kaanza kufura. Kufura. Na
yani imeplalia najiuliza sasa pesa itatoka wapi ya kwenda hospitali. Mama mwenyewe hajiwezi.
Sasa kama unalia peke yako. Mama alisema hana pesa.
Kwanza kuanzia Januari ya kuanga na kazi, February, March, ameenda tu in March. Alienda sijui mwezi wa 4, sijui wa 3, tarehe 10. Alienda kazi.
Anafanya kazi gani?
Nyumba tu.
Tu pesa yake amesema iwezi tosha kulipa nyumba na chakula na matibabu yako.
Hiyo pesa hiyo inatosha nikimbia.
Ukiongea na Mungu unamwambiaga aje kuhusu ugonjwa yako ukifikiria?
Jenga Mungu. Mbele tu afungue njia pesa ipatikane niweze kwenda kutibiwa. Zingine inaniuma, najikuna, zingine hata nikilala hapo chini huwa sina. Nashinda tu nimepinduka juu inaniwasha, najikuna, damu inatoka. Zingine najikuna juu kuna nini, kunatoka ngozi. Sijui hata nalala usiku.
Sasa nini nawasha?
Yenyewe tu. Naweza anza kuwasha hata saa hii tu yenyewe. Na nichukue tu nguo nianze kujikuna nayo.
Unajikuna na nguo because utaki kutoanisha ngozi tena?
Ikiwasha, sisi kuna hivi na mkono. Ili nichukue nguo ndo nikune nayo hata kama ngozi inatoka nikishamaliza. Na sasa kusikia uchungu. Ikilini.
Pole sana. So, mbona huwezi jikuna na mkono, unajikuna na nguo?
Juu nikijikuna na mkono haikuniki, sisikii kama najikuna, lakini nikichukua nguo naishikana nayo hivi, nikikuna nayo hivi, ngozi itoke.
Ngozi unakuna mpaka ngozi itoke. Juu kianza kusikia nini?
Najikunanga hadi ngozi itoke. Ngozi itoke kabisa. Alafu ianze kutoa damu. Baadaye nitaanza kusikia kama inaniuma. Nikiangalia na kioo naona nimejikuna hadi nimetoa ngozi, sasa inauma.
Uliniambia kuna marafiki wengine walikuwa nakucheka. Walikuwa nasema aje?
Walikuwa tu wananicheka. Hata si zingine kama nikitokanga hapa siwezi toka bila kujifunika. Hiyo sukari nilikuwa.
Na nimeona umejifunika kabisa mpaka kichwa. Such a pretty lady, young, but hizo keloids hizo mdisturb sana. Haezi enda kwa watu. Na vile nimepata amejifunika, alikuwa amejifunika shuka. Ukiangalia tupana naye pala kwa barabara, unaona hizo picha, video nimepata naye akiwa amejifunika kabisa. Hiyo ndio imekuwa life yake, because aki-expose watu wanamwangalia, because ukienda bila hiyo kitu unasema watu wanakuangalia sana kwa barabara. So lazima ujifunike kabisa. Na watu wanakuulizanga mbona utoagi shuka?
Mimi nashinda.
Wanakuulizaga. So unawaambiaga aje?
Zingine mtu ananiuliza mbona utoi shuka? Sasa mimi namwangalia tu, hata sitaki kuongea, hata sitaki kumwambia ni kwa nini sitaki kuitoa.
Wewe ndio unajua. Anajua ikuuliza wewe inakuwasha sana.
Hadi mwingine anataka kundolea, wanasemanga tu wanachanga wakiwa hapa. Wanachanga.
Hajaichanga.
Mama ameenda huko kwa mbao. Hata tu wanasema wanachanga.
Hajaichanga.
Ndangi hiyo kanisa. Juu wanadanganya tu wananichangia tu, ngoja mpaka tumechoka.